How is it going? I hope everyone's doing well, and thank you for tuning in this video. Today, I'm here with my WWE NXT TakeOver WarGames 2020 review. That way, seeing more time, let's go and dive right in the show, which of course opened up with the Women's WarGames match. Shotzi Blackheart, NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai, Ember and Rhea Ripley taking on Candice, LeRae, Toni Storm, Dakota Kai, and Raquel González. This was a fantastic opener here. This match was just as equally as good as last year's Women's WarGames match, honestly. I just thought it was a lot of fun, and it definitely was a hell of a way to kick off the show. Raquel González definitely had a star-breaking performance here. She looked absolutely incredible, looking like an absolute monster, especially against Rhea Ripley. The exchange those two had, especially the stare down when they both cleaned house and they're both in one, they're both in one ring and they slowly stare at each other. That was a great moment in the match. Everyone played their part well, and I thought everyone looked great in this match. Yeah, like I said, it was a lot of fun. Dakota Kai and Ember started the match off up until Shotzi Blackheart entered the ring. She introduced a bunch of weapons, and she had a pretty good performance against Dakota Kai. She had her moments where she kind of slipped up, and this match wasn't perfect by any means. This match definitely had its moments where the time wasn't off and there were some botches, and definitely a spot too where Candice was setting herself up for Shotzi. She ended up landing on two chairs, but then she rolled over, grabbed one chair, and put it over her, and rolled back in position for Shotzi. So there was just some moments where it's kind of obvious what they were doing and looked kind of stupid on their end. I'm not going to nitpick everything. Of course, the big infamous moment was with Io. Once it was her time to get in the ring, she was not allowed in the ring. Toni prevented her from getting in the ring. Raquel González knocked her down and prevented her from climbing the cage as well. So, Io pretty much was not allowed in. Indy Hartwell ended up making an appearance as Ghostface to, help Candice enter the match when Io tried to, fight Candice out of the cage. But back in the cage, Io ended up climbing it, scaling it with a trash can, and did the infamous big spot, and arguably spot of the year. I wouldn't honestly argue it, where she put the trash can over herself and just jumped off the cage. No fucks given. So big props to Io for that. But then once she entered the match, Io honestly just got the holy shit kicked out of her by everybody. She had her moments where she had some nice drop kicks in, but for the most part, yeah, she got her ass kicked by everyone for the majority of the match. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of weapons involved, a lot of great near falls, a lot of pins being broken up, just a lot of great teamwork from both teams as well. So tremendous opener. The ending sequence was insane as well, with everyone pretty much getting their shit in. But then out of nowhere, Raquel and Io were going at it, and then Raquel just did a huge power bomb through a table, not through a table, through a ladder. Man, the bump Io slick right there was absolutely vicious. So between both rings where the steel is, Raquel González just did like was it a choke slam or a power bomb? It was kind of like a choke slam power bomb right into that ladder, and it's a huge pinfall victory over Io Shirai. So not only did she have a great performance, but Raquel González ended up getting the victory for her team as well. So definitely a huge night for her. Like I said, hell of an opening match, fantastic stuff. All women look fantastic. Like I said, the other moments where it didn't look the greatest, but all in all, definitely was a hell of an opening match. And from there, I would go to Tommaso Ciampa taking on Timothy Thatcher, and this was a great match as well. Start off very slow, it was very mat-based, and, not a whole lot was going on. It was kind of getting boring, to be perfectly honest, as well. Thatcher just putting him in a bunch of chokeholds and whatnot, not really too much going on, just really grounding him. But then all of a sudden, out of the blue, these two just started beating the holy hell out of each other. Ciampa had his comeback, just hit several clotheslines. He hit like 10 clotheslines on Thatcher in a row, and these two just started slugging each other back and forth. They're laying the shit in. They're just brutalizing each other to the point where Ciampa hits a running knee and just busts open Thatcher's ear. That's how freaking hard he kneed him in the head. He freaking busted his ear open. That was a great moment. And Thatcher just absolutely started slapping Ciampa, laying his shots in, getting him some suplexes. He even told him he was going to kill him. He said, "I'm going to kill you, Ciampa," on the ring apron when we try to suplex him. So these two are really going to war, and they're just beating the whole out of each other. I love the finish as well. with Thatcher trying to choke out Ciampa. And then Ciampa gets to the ropes, or he tied up Thatcher in the ropes, put him in a guillotine to the point where, you know, Thatcher is fading. And as Thatcher was fading, he immediately hit Widow's Bell, the draping DDT for the 1, 2, 3. So Ciampa defeats Timothy Thatcher, in which I thought was a great hard-hitting battle. And what I loved even more afterwards was the stare down those two had. They did a slow stare down, but it was epic, man. You know, they stared down each other on the apron as Thatcher was slowly walking to the back. They stared each other down on the ramp. They had a great shot of them staring down each other as well after the match. So that stare down definitely, whether it's a match or honestly even them teaming, that stare down definitely made me want to see more of Thatcher and Ciampa. So yeah, like I said, great match. Started off slow and boring, I'll admit, but it definitely picked up into a great match, if you ask me. From there, I'm going to the strap match between Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes. This was good for what it was. Cameron Grimes, he's fantastic. How he's not in the North American title scene is beyond me. But he comes out with his own strap. You know, he pushes to use it, but then ends up attacking Dexter Lumis before the bell. But then, you know, Lumis gets the upper hand. They brawl out, and they utilize the strap pretty well for the most part. You know, they're flinging each other everywhere. Dexter Lumis actually flung Cameron Grimes through a barricade and into the chained glass as well a handful of times. So they were utilizing the strap pretty well. Cameron Grimes got the upper hand, ended up slingshotting Dexter Lumis all over the place. Threw him over the barricade, threw him onto the ramp. So they were just honestly brutalizing each other for a good little while as well. Cameron Grimes using strap to just, you know, swat him with the back and everything. Even pulled Dexter Lumis off of the apron under the ground. So they were playing their shit in. You know, they got a chair introduced at one point as well. Grimes got the upper hand, but the finish was great. I thought the finish really made the match. With the way Dexter Lumis was able to transition to the silencer, ended up using the belt to choke out, not check him out, but submit Cameron Grimes to win the match. So I thought the finish was very clever and a great way to cap off the match and feud. So yeah, it wasn't a great match by any means, but it was fun, entertaining, I thought. So I didn't mind it, but I think it's definitely time for both guys to move on. And speaking of moving on, we had a vignette air for Karrion Kross, you know, pretty much showcasing his return. He's been out since TakeOver 30 with the injury in August, so it's been quite a few months, and I think, you know, they definitely could use him right now. And I don't know if you put him back in the title scene immediately and put the championship right back on him. I know he never lost it, but I think Finn Balor is too hot right now to lose the championship. And speaking of Finn Balor, making his return back to NXT this coming Wednesday. I know he returned a few weeks ago, but, you know, I guess he's officially back this upcoming Wednesday. So some big things popping in NXT. And then from all that, we go to the triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship. Leon Ruff defending his championship against Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano. And this was really good. I thought Leon Ruff had his moments to shine in this match. You know, he had a few good spots in this match. Damian Priest was kind of playing it up that he didn't even want to face Leon Ruff, that, you know, he's pretty much just a waste of time. But Leon Ruff pretty much was like, hey, man, pay attention to me. And when he did, holy hell did he pay for it, because Damian Priest picked him up and gave him a razor's edge right through one of those barricade plexiglass chain things. So yeah, that was a great spot and pretty much took out Leon Ruff for the good majority of the match. Gargano and Priest, you know, pretty much went at it for the majority of the match after that. You know, doing some callbacks to the previous matches that they had, because they've been, you know, pretty much wrestling each other throughout the entire fall. So you had to play them callbacks, you know, Gargano going for the final beat DDT, but then Priest countering it into the Reckoning, or attempting the Reckoning. So you had that. Then Leon Ruff made a reappearance after he was taken backstage. Came out of the blue, got some near falls on Gargano. Then all of a sudden, you had a million Ghostface appear out of nowhere, costing Priest when Priest was closing on the win on Gargano. Which, you know, I don't know. I don't really care for this Ghostface gimmick, but it is what it is. T-Bar made a funny comment on Twitter saying that no wonder he was wondering where all the Retribution Goonies they had when they first started went, and so I thought that was a funny comment. But Yeah, Ghostface appeared to help Gargano win. Gargano ends up securing the win onto Leon Ruff, ends up hitting the final beat DDT to get the 1, 2, 3. So, Johnny Gargano is your brand new 3-time NXT North American champion. I figured Priest or Gargano would win a title back, and I definitely thought, Leon Ruff was nothing more than a transitional champion for their feud. So, I wasn't surprised to see him lose a championship. And, of course, afterwards, who was revealed to be one of the Ghostface members, but Austin Theory. So he's a Ghostface. Don't care, because I don't care for Austin Theory at all. So it is what it is. But, yeah, Johnny Gargano, brand new North American champion. Like I said, really good match. And then, of course, we go to the main event, which was WarGames once again. The Undisputed Era entering their 4th WarGames match, man. Absolutely crazy that they've been in all 4 of the men's WarGames matches in NXT. Of course, taking on the team of Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, and the NXT Tag Team Champions, Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch. Undisputed Era, once again, deliver another fantastic WarGames match. The storytelling in this match is fantastic. Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly started the match. They beat the holy hell of each other. And with each entrant, the match got that much better. The final 2, of course, for each team were Pat McAfee and Adam Cole. Really loved that when each entry went for McAfee's team. Pat McAfee tried to play it off like he was going in, but then someone was like, oh, no, I'll go. And McAfee's like, all right, you can go. No problem. So I thought that was kind of funny that he tried to play it up like he wanted to go, even though it's kind of obvious. Like he wanted to go last. It was very apparent. But he comes in. His team's just beating the hell out of Undisputed Era. Then Adam Cole comes in. So, of course, those two go out of it. They continue off of their fantastic match I thought they had at TakeOver 30. Their chemistry is really good, and definitely displayed here. And Pat McAfee, man, I don't care what anyone says. He's awesome. He had a lot of great bumps in this match. He flew like 3/4 of the ring. He flew really far through a table. Ended up doing a moonsault, putting Roderick Strong through a table. Even that fucking he did a swanton off of the fucking cage, for fuck's sake. Like, Pat McAfee was the fucking man in this match. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Pete Dunne looked great. Him and Adam Cole had a great exchange. We actually ended up hitting the bitter end on Adam Cole onto a chair. But we went for the pin attempt. Roderick Strong recreated the NXT TakeOver New Orleans spot where he turned on Pete Dunne. So, and it was the exact same situation too. Pete Dunne was pinning Adam Cole there, and he was pinning Adam Cole here again. And actually, no, he was pinning Kyle O'Reilly in that match. Actually, never mind. He wasn't pinning Adam Cole there, but it was recreating the same spot. When Pete Dunne went for the pin, Roderick Strong kicks him in the back of the head, ends up hitting end of Heartache. I was getting a little ahead of myself there. Apologize. Ends up hitting end of Heartache on Pete Dunne, but then chaos erupts, and great spot where Undisputed Era has all of Pat McAfee's team line up against the cage, and they're all one by one taking them down. Just a lot of great spots and moments in this match. Adam Cole hitting the Panama Sunrise on Pat McAfee, and McAfee, attempting his own but not getting it on Cole. Just a lot of great stuff. Honestly, if I had to pick an MVP, it'd probably be, honestly, it's a toss-up between Kyle O'Reilly and Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee was just that good, but Kyle O'Reilly, performance-wise, he was probably the best performer in the match, and looked like $1 million. But Pat McAfee, man, his selling and everything, he was a star of the match, without a doubt, in my opinion. So, absolute chaos erupts towards the end. Everyone is literally just hitting their finish on each other. Kyle O'Reilly ends up hitting the dropping knee onto Oney Lorcan, who had a steel chair on top of his head. Kyle O'Reilly gets a pin, 1, 2, 3, and the Undisputed Era wins WarGames against Pat McAfee's team. Great main event. Definitely was a fantastic WarGames. Honestly, it's a toss-up between the men's and the women's. You could argue which one was better, and I wouldn't fight you on it. If you said the women's was better, I see your point. If the men's was better, I see your point there too. Both equally as great, and it was a great main event to close, which I thought was a great takeover overall. I thought going into the show, honestly, I wasn't too excited. I thought the show delivered, but I just really wasn't caring for the show at all. And I came out of the show very, very pleased and very, very excited for the future of NXT. I really enjoyed the opener. Ciampa and Thatcher was a great slugfest. Grimes and Lumis, for what it was good. I didn't mind it. The North American title match was fun in the main event. I thought it told a tremendous story. The storytelling definitely was what made the match, if you ask me, more than anything. So I thought overall NXT TakeOver WarGames 2020 was a home run, and definitely was a great takeover to close the year for NXT. And that'll wrap it up for my WWE NXT TakeOver WarGames 2020 review. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below. And of course, the next time, I'll see you guys, and thank you guys for watching this video.